Deze is hartstikke awesome Jeff.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss, and we have with us today the man, Mike Pombeiro. Welcome back, my friend.
What's up, gentlemen, and thank you for having me back. It's always a pleasure being on your show. You guys are, you guys are one of my favorite podcasts, I'll say.
Thank you.
Dope.
This is
Nice.
what, number 3, I think? This is the 3rd time now?
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, because
at
he-
least,
we
at least
had-
three. At least three.
Yeah, he was on the 1-year anniversary show as well. So,
Yep.
yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Show. We had the 1-year anniversary, and now we got this one.
Yep, this is going to be great.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
you guys
go ahead.
are almost at 100 now yourself.
Yes, this is 93, episode 93.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we are always exactly 10 episodes behind CTE. So,
Put in some work.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Been pretty
Jeff and I
cool.
were talking. We were wondering if we should do something special for 100. We'll take ideas.
Yeah,
don't know.
of course. Yeah. Everyone watching, give us some comments what you want to see for 100.
Yeah.
Also, we want to let you guys know, remind you guys, we are sponsored by the Virtual Fight Tour. VFT 8 is coming up this weekend. So make sure you guys get your tickets now. Go to myeventtex.com, look up Virtual Fight Tour 8. And, man, we have just so amazing fight card. I like how it's not too many fights. It's kind of back to kind of the way it was on the first
Right.
few, but high quality, solid fights. And we're going to get into that today as well as some other fun stories with Mike and just some other viable sport karate topics as well. So,
Right.
If you guys got any comments, whatever, any questions, anything, add to it. All right. So it'll be great.
Well, I think kind of the reason why we can't have too many fights this card is because we got the team matchup.
Yep.
The team matchup, I go back and forth so much. Like, dude, what do I know about the team matchup? Well, where do you want to start? I don't know. I don't want to jump into it too deep and just start talking about one fight over the other. Where do you want to start when
So
we're
we
talking
wanna
about the
start with
card? That's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the card.
Yeah.
And Mike, you're going to be one of the commentators for the fight card.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is I was the commentator last time with Travis. I guess Los was out of town once again. Chris was supposed to show up, but he was at a wedding. Got invited, I guess, to Joe Fife's wedding last minute. We kind of already knew he wasn't going to show up. About 30 minutes before the show, Travis said, yeah, let's just cut his mic and camera. He's not showing up. And unfortunately for me, it was great. I loved it. I watched, myself on the show, but me and Travis kept getting cut off. Things kept happening with sound, with video. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it this time. I told him I'm happy to hear that it wasn't anything that was my fault. It sounded like it was all in-house. So I'm looking forward to it this time, and I'm hoping that, again, everything works out better this time. And, again, I'm looking forward to it because last time I think I was doing a lot of coaching more than anything. Like when it came down to interviews, rather than like asking people questions, I was kind of commentating on like, this is what you did, this is what I would have done. But I'm going to try to change it up this time.
I don't know though. Listening to that though, that was huge. When I started hearing that, I'm like, oh yes, exactly. And I'll tell you one of the reasons why. And I kind of started to give some insight the last few weeks. So the guys that I grew up training with, none of us had it. We didn't have a coach. Like whatever small piece of success that I or any of the group that we've ever had, we just get the heck out because we didn't have a coach. So with that was huge.
Yeah. So what he was saying was that he didn't
Did I just
have
cut
a
out there
coach.
for a moment?
But
A little
yeah,
bit.
you
Did I
did.
just cut
You
out
did.
for a moment?
Yeah, but he was saying what he heard from you there was huge, which I think is great for those young fighters and everyone, to hear something from someone, So
yeah, a good example. A good example was Justice Floyd. I was looking forward to seeing the guy, but the one question I kind of had was he going to run out of gas?
Yeah,
and it's funny because I mentioned that I think when he came on an interview prior in the beginning of the show, I'm looking forward to seeing this, blah blah blah. But have you been thinking about how you're going to pace yourself and do this and do that, and because I'm kind of concerned that can you last 3 rounds because he's young, but he was talking about he hates to run, but he runs. So I was kind of unsure what he was trying to get at. But anyways, I hope that didn't get the best of him because later on it was like the McGregor when he sits there and he has like these Mystic Mac. I just felt like, man, exactly what I said is exactly what happened. He ran out of gas, and also it was kind of a little bit of a momentum shift because when you're refereeing sometimes that guy starts getting the close points. I mean, he was sitting, he was getting scored on, but there was a couple questionable points too that I think because the momentum was going that way and the way the score was, it kind of also helped. And then he was running out of gas and he just lost it at the end by 1 point. But again, a lot of close fights, a lot of great fights. The only problem was, again, audio, video. So I'm looking forward to doing it. I'm looking forward to doing it again. And, we'll see how it goes.
And again, they've had 2 months now to get ready, prepared, create a great card, and also prepare for the summer too. So it's pretty cool. John Claude said, keep doing what you do. Don't change your critique and analysis. He loved it. And
we dig it, man.
Enjoyed the feedback during the interviews. So pretty awesome. And of course, Akin says Mike is the man.
No, he's the man. He does a great job refereeing. He steps in there and, he takes charge. And bottom line, I mean, he demands respect. And that's what a ref needs to do. They need to take control. A good example also last fight was Powell was questioning the ref. But, hey, listen, he already made his call. He told you to back up. I mean, there's no timeout. There's no arguing each point. That's not what that or the way that fight's set up. You're not at a point tournament. The rules, you got to know them ahead of time. And, like I said, hey, that's a lesson learned hopefully for that young guy. And I like the way Akin does things and the rest of the referees. So,
I'm excited. I'm excited for it. So go ahead, Alex.
I just had an idea though, Mike. Yeah. So take that exact scenario where Powell's like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me." Let's just say you felt like, say, Mike Pombeiro was in that scenario where you're like, the fight's getting away from me. I'm not getting a call I feel I should get, and you can't change the pace. What do you do?
I'm not going to lie to you. We kind of broke up. Say it one more time. We broke up for a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say you were.
I got you. Yeah. So what he said, Alex. Mike was.
And you were in that situation.
What if you were in that scenario and the fight's kind of getting away from you, and what do you do? And he's not. You feel like they're not calling your points, and so you kind of can't change the timing or the pace. But what do you do?
Well, you can't do nothing if you have no cardio, and that's the bottom line. If you're not prepared, you don't show up in the utmost, best shape case scenario. Like you're going uphill both ways because you got to think about that. I mean, you're in the ring by yourself. The calls might not go your way. You might end up getting an injury. You got to make, some changes. You might have think the fight was going to go a certain way, and all of a sudden the other person came up with a strategy change. Maybe they watched some video and they picked up on some things, and now they're throwing different things, and now you got to make adjustments. Your cardio has got to be on point. Right. Definitely your technique's got to be on point, but your cardio's got to be on point. So for me, I think that's where he killed it. And if you're in that position and you have no cardio, it doesn't matter what adjustments you want to make. Your body is not going to follow your mind. But if you're in great shape and the fight's getting away, what got you to that point? Obviously, you were being aggressive. You were doing things. When you're up, and if you fight like that, that's when it starts going away because you're being defensive. You're being, pushed back. You're on your heels. You're not able to go forward. And That's why momentum starts going that way. So if you're up, your cardio's on point, and you're strangling someone, you continue to strangle them. That's it.
Yeah.
You don't let them back up. Period. You know what I mean? You put the pedal to the metal, and you put the nail in the coffin, and that's it.
So
cardio.
So Mike, we've heard this so much, and Travis talks about it. You've talked about it. All of us talk about it. It's like your cardio has to be ready. 3 rounds is different. Okay, so in your mind, what would be the best way to prepare for a 3-round fight in the cage? Because I know there's a lot of listeners that are kind of thinking, well, how do we do it? Do I do more running? Do I do more sprinting? Do I do just a bunch of rounds? But we also have seen people that do a bunch of rounds, and they're not very high intense, right? Oh, I sparred 20 rounds a day. But yeah, you were kind of chilling, right? So go from your perspective, what you think.
Well, first of all, you made all good points. The one thing I always mention, I think, and I've mentioned it over and over when I was doing stuff myself, podcast-wise, is running. I think so many guys underestimate that. But you think about boxing, right? And you remember how Conor and how Mayweather and the cardio granted, Conor's not known for his cardio. But if you look at any boxer, even just recently, Ruiz, man, how much does that guy weigh? Look at that guy's friggin' speed and cardio. Look at that guy's speed and cardio and how big he is. And I guarantee the cardio's there because these guys not only work hard, but the running. I'm telling you, running is so big. If you can't run 3 to 5 miles and bang it out like I don't know, like just like brushing your teeth and taking a shower, then that's a problem. 1. 2, when I go sparring, I got 2 different sparring classes I go to. I go to Bob White's. It's a little bit more of I don't want to say an older crowd, but not more of a competitive crowd. Mm-hmm. There's a couple competitive guys there. So the pace is different. So my cardio is phenomenal there. I show up to Raymond's on Sunday, and you got Jamal Albini, Powell, James, Raymond, Jack. You know, you got all killers back to back to back to back.
Right.
You don't get a breather, so you're basically sprinting every round. Mm-hmm. And no one, granted, karate's a bunch of egos, so everybody's very competitive in there. So the pace you push is the pace that gets pushed back. And again, nobody wants to get scored on. Everybody's trying to score on each other, and the pace is high. So to me, if you're going to do rounds, you got to do rounds with killers, and you got to go back to back, and you got to do it for like, I don't know, I'm going to say like 45 minutes at least to an hour. Yeah. I mean, when we spar, we go, you know what? And I'm 46, and I go to Raymond's, and I'm always going to tell the young kids, what are you doing? I'm real tired. I'm like, yeah, but dude, I'm 46.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care what. Dude, I'm not competing anymore, but I'm able to stay out there. 1, it's a mindset. It's a mindset. Yep. Oh, I'm tired. If that's what you focus on, then you are tired. You are what you think. If you're a loser, you're a loser. If you're a winner, the way you think, and granted, you might think you're a winner and you might lose, but that attitude eventually, and if you follow up with the hard work and the diligence and consistency, is going to get you somewhere. Yep. You have to have that mindset, first of all.
Yep.
So, and I think that's the thing. People go in and train. They think that I put in an hour or 2. I don't give a crap if you put in 5 hours. If it's 5 hours of just jogging, and you got a guy that goes in an hour in the gym and his pace is just constant sprint the whole time, that's the difference. You got to go in there with that intensity, like you're at the event already and running. And I think those 2 things are big. And, working on your weaknesses. If you hate kickers, friggin' go find some kickers and go find kickers that are going to push you and give you a hard time. So that way, when you're there, you've already dealt with the situation. You're not dealing with it on the fly, and you can make those adjustments. And if you hate whatever, blitzers, people that move, you got to find those people. And in this case scenario, you know who you're fighting. So, I mean, if you're not prepared, it's your fault, period.
Right. Yeah, you know who you're fighting. So that's what's great. And it also makes it to where you don't have any excuse, right?
Right.
Absolutely not. And that's why I think there is a lot of close fights, because you got a lot of professional sport karate guys here that, again, they have great big egos and they don't want to lose and they push. And yeah, you've seen a couple, big landslides. It's going to happen. I mean, sometimes someone, starts to get a lead and they'll run away with it. But then you'll see stuff like Justice recently. I forget the gentleman that he fought from McClure's, but that gentleman did a great job. He never gave up. Right.
Mm-hmm.
He had, I can win. He didn't say I can lose.
Right.
At any point in time, he could have said I can lose, and he could have gave up. But instead, I saw Justice Floyd's body. I saw the way his body just breathed out, and he just slouched down, and he looked like, man, I don't know how much more I can put up with this. That right there, I think helped give that guy that attitude. Like, you know what? Maybe I can come back.
Right.
And that's the thing that, as a rookie, hopefully he learned. And you know what? I'm not rubbing your loss in salt. I'm just reminding you next time, that stuff matters. You're tired. Don't put your friggin' hands on your hips. You always got to, if you're rocked, you can't look rocked. You got to have a poker face. You got to go out there. And that's part of the game as well, besides kicking and punching and moving, the way you carry yourself and the way you send messages to your other fighter. You know?
And one thing I liked about him after that was that the next week I saw that he was training with Bailey virtually, right? Then he won his set fight down in the Knuckle Up Championships. He won his set fight.
That's right.
The guy, the same, I always forget his name, same guy that won his fight up there in VFT as well.
And I think he got rocked in the division earlier. Didn't he have I thought he got
hit, I think so.
A bloody nose or something. I remember seeing something, and I wasn't sure if he was going to fight. But hey, he's a tough kid. He stepped up.
Yeah.
And,
so he's stepping up. So I know he has a tournament this weekend. So looking forward to seeing him do that. But
let's just real quick. As long as we were talking about Justice, I think the reason why we keep bringing Justice's fight up is because there's no way he should have ever lost that fight.
No, absolutely.
That's really the only reason.
Right.
So we're not dogging him. Really, we're like, we just thought Justice, you were just so dang dominant that first round. We thought there was no possible way you were going to lose that fight, because he came out with a very bold statement saying, I'm going to win by 15. And after round one, I thought, gee, it might be more.
Well, you know what? Gas is like to a car. If you were to rev and drive around like that, you're going to get less gas mileage out of your car than if you were to just find a happy medium, and not slow down and not do anything that's going to be resistance. And I think that's the same thing with the fight. You got to learn how to pace, when to sprint, when to jog, and and when to pick your points. But you can't be like that and just rev.
Yeah.
And then I mean, unless you got an unlimited gas tank. If you got an unlimited gas tank, then do whatever you want to do. But there's very rare few people that have that. So
all right. So let's just kind of talk real short about each fight, and then we can get into the bigger ones. So we have the first one will be Alexa Fleshman. She's from Virginia versus Peyton Fender, and she's from Florida. Alexa trains with Gina and Sean. She's from my area. And Peyton is on Velocity, but is also in that Orlando area of Florida. So both good, solid training camps. What do you guys think? I know you haven't seen much of either one, but
I've had to go back and watch the videos of them. So it's going to sound really simple and not that in depth, but I just feel like Peyton has more experience, and I just feel like once we get towards the end of the second round and into the third round, I just really feel like Peyton's experience, being the one who's in the adult division the longest, I just feel like she should take over and win.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean,
she's my pick.
Both of them are still really new to the adult division. So I mean, I don't know. Alexa, was very active as a junior. She had some years off. She had some personal things to deal with, and I'm looking forward to her coming out here and being able to tell that story more, and because it's a real inspiring story.
I dig her style. I like Alexa's style.
She, I've coached against her before, and she's on Team Revolution, and she's been competing very. I guess in February, March, and April, she competed a lot and won all of her tournaments. So I'm excited to see her do it. I think that she will take it because I just know the group that she's with, and also just her style, the way she's going to keep going. And I know she's going to be in shape. So that's something that I know, that I feel like I know that Sean and Gina make sure that they are in shape, more than anything. So.
All right, I'm gonna pull a Travis and say and say that I don't know if I can go either way because I haven't watched either one that much. They're both sponsored, so obviously it sounds like they both got some talent. I know Florida's got some great talent out there, so I mean, if that girl's competing out there, she's obviously coming up in a very good, like farm league. For baseball, it's just she's coming up in a good spot. That's a great spot competitively every weekend. Great competitors, and you even get outside people, so that's great for her. And then the other gal, Alexa, training with Gina. That's going to be definitely a great incentive having some champion. But at the same time, you're training with that person in the dojo. I don't know what her competition is like in that area. I know that there's great competition, but there hasn't been much competition as of late. So I don't know how busy she has been as opposed to the girl from Florida. Correct. So if I was to say, if someone said, hey man, make a bet and I'm going off just those stats, I'm going to have to go with the girl, Peyton, because obviously I would say her area, who she's got around her, and the fact that maybe she's been a little bit more busier due to the the whole COVID thing. But again, I'm gonna watch the fight, and I'm kind of like I'm one of those guys where I watch the fight and I kind of say what I like, what I would do, and who I think is gonna win just by kind of seeing how it starts off. Yeah, you know what I mean. So, but again, if I was to go, I'll go with you, Alex, because like what I said, basically,
same exact thing.
I'm just thinking the area, and so. Yep. But we'll see. Hey,
awesome.
Make me eat my words. I like eating my words, man.
I think the Florida angle is a really important one, though.
Right. Definitely.
They got to go on.
What's the next one we got? Is it Jamal versus Romani? Right. That is the next fight. So talk about a second fight. That's an awesome fight. I mean,
this is a hard one. This is the hardest
exactly
one.
what Travis said on CTE. I agree too. It's like I'm still trying to picture it. I
can go first if you guys want, because I don't want you guys to think I'm just trying to be cheesy. But
no.
Listen, first of all, Jamal's a good friend, so this is a really tough one for me. But I will say this: if Jamal fights the same way he did against Brandon, he's going to lose. If he's doing the fadeaway kicks and doing kind of the stuff that he did, who else did he fought Brandon in and the other one, but has he fought Virtual Fight Tour? No, right?
No. This is
so one, this is brand new for him. He's going to have to get used to that, and I think because even worse off going away with kicks, having that ring there, it's going to be tough. Now, saying this, I've been kind of watching Romani recently. What the heck is up with that guy? What's he on? Is he on roids, man? Nah, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean like seriously.
I say that about Jamal.
But dude, but that kid looks like he's been beefing up. I remember when he was like a little scrawny kid.
Right.
And I know he's working with, and I mean, you guys know who he's working with. He's another karate guy that's been working with a lot of guys on fitness.
Oh, Mark G.
Yeah, so hey, well, I'll give him a plug. Great, but what he's doing with Romani, man, that kid looks like he's getting, and not like overly, he's growing and he's lean and he looks a lot more athletic. And I'm interested to see, because like Brandon, he's been looking better and better. So I'm very interested in seeing how much growth he has in the last time. So this fight is really exciting for me. And again, I think it's about, you got 3 rounds. The one thing I think Jamal, I will give him, is that he's training with a lot of good guys. He knows how to learn from his mistakes. So I think 3 rounds kind of is good for him in the favor of where he can make adjustments. Now, my question is, because I haven't been training on Sundays, I've been actually out of town a lot recently, so I haven't been to Raymond's in 3 weeks. I know Jamal's training, but I haven't been training with him. Right. I'm kind of curious how his cardio is, if he can do 3 rounds. That's a whole other ball game. Yeah. Now, I'll say this. I'm going to go with Jamal because he's family, and I'm hoping that he did all the right things. But if he didn't do all those right things, I wouldn't be surprised if he lose. So,
yeah.
I think this fight is going to be the best fight of the night.
Yeah, I agree.
I think this will be the fight where is going to be the bigger one. I think it'll be the most exciting. I think it has potential to be the closest and go back and forth. But what I actually feel like in this, I think Jamal is going to win. Mm-hmm. And I think Jamal is going to win for a couple of reasons. But I think Jamal is going to win. I think as big as you say Romani's getting, no. Jamal looks like he has taken all the anabolic steroids. Dude, like all of them. Like he'll just like say, "You got some? Yeah, give them to me." Right?
But he's still fast though too.
He is as jacked as it can get. Now let's not forget though, everybody knows of everybody on this card, Jamal has reached the highest high. Right?
Right.
Jamal won the frickin' U.S. Open, right?
Right.
Of the people who have won the U.S. Open, there's not a lot of like different people. Everybody who's won the U.S. Open, you would think like they'd be like a first ballot Hall of Famer if there was a Sport Karate Hall of Fame. He's one of those guys. He won the frickin' U.S. Open, right? So nobody else on this list can even say they sniffed that. Nobody, right? Now I think Jamal has more power than Romani. I don't know if he's going to utilize it that way, but I also know this. Okay. And we kind of heard it a little bit on the CTE 100 when they had their 100th episode. Yeah. And they had Team Straight Up on there, which was a super cool interview.
It was cool. Yeah.
Super cool. So, and we all know this about Straight Up. They carry themselves as it's us against the world and a little bit of FU on top of that. Right.
Right.
And I feel like it's almost like we're always the underdog, never the champion. Always the underdog, never the champion. Always the one just nipping at you, but never the one who actually won. We're always the one who should have won, but not the one who actually won. And I feel like somehow there's like some osmosis and that just happens again. I feel like that could happen again. And it's going to end up Jamal winning. And it's going to be another one of those, man, should he have won? Because really Romani should have beaten Jason Borelli in Pro Point, if you remember that one.
Right.
So but Jason won, and it was always kind of like that. You got to be kidding me, kind of thing. That could happen again, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised to see Jamal win, just flat out win.
Yeah.
So for all of those, I pick Jamal.
Yeah, this is real hard for me, man, because I've been going back and forth in my head, like, this, and one thing, Romani hasn't been as active as people like are trying to make it like. He went to Battle of Atlanta and he did the Pro Point. That's really it. I know he's been training, but as far as competing, there hasn't been that much as well, unless there's some that we haven't seen. I know they're not doing any tournaments up there yet. So I know he hasn't been as active as like a Brandon or Bailey, but he still is like, he's that young guy that wants it. He's hungry, just like everyone in Straight Up right now is. So I'm excited to see that, but I also see that in Jamal too. Like his last fight time he fought was at my tournament where he messed his knee up really bad. Right. And he was, I think he was fighting Cam when it happened. And so he's been ready to get back, looking at his videos of his training videos. Again, yeah, he's gotten big, but this dude is fast and he knows what he's doing. So I see both these guys just completely building themselves up to be the best athletes for the sport that they can. So again, this is going to be not just pure athleticism. I think it's going to be where the strategy kind of comes in. And I feel like that's where Jamal will win. His experience and everything will take over for a very close fight. Barely.
Jamal right now. Mike, do you know how old Jamal is?
No, I'm gonna guess he's probably like low, like 30, 31, somewhere in that ballpark. I'm guessing.
I would guess he's older. I would guess
like that.
I would guess he's like
he's about 30, 31.
I thought he was younger than
so?
Jack. I know he's younger than Jack a little bit.
Yeah, he is.
But I'm also wondering who is Chris Walker going to be there for Jamal in his corner? Who's going to be in Jamal's corner? I'm
right.
That as well.
I guess Sean probably will be. If Sean Dumlow's coming with Team Dumlow, maybe he will. Because that's his original coach.
That's true. I didn't even think about that.
That may be it.
Because sometimes, I mean, I'm not saying that matters for sometimes, but sometimes it does. Because Joey Greenhall's his presence usually, and I'm not saying it affects the outcome, but it helps. It helps a lot. So, sometimes if you don't have a coach that's in your face, getting you pumped up, and just staying on you and just being real, that can make a difference. So,
what's up, Angel? Jamal's 30. He turns 31 this year. So yeah. All right. All right. So what's our next one? It's the team, right? The team fight. So this is exciting. We got more of a West Coast feel, and so we got Team Dumlow. So we have Alyssa Dumlow and
QJ.
Yeah, Pastor, right?
Yeah.
Hey Kyle, what's up, man? We were just talking about justice.
Now I wanted to ask you about this real quick because the other team fights usually were two guys,
right?
And
had to fight both.
Yes. So how does this one work? Do they just fight one round apiece?
No, they're going to fight. Yeah, they're going to fight 2 rounds, but they'll fight the same person both rounds. Okay. So the coin flip depends on how the order is going to be. Whoever wins the coin flip decides the order. Yeah. So say they could go, all right, we want to have both of our females fight back to back, and then the males fight back to back. Or the other option would be, we're going to go male, man, woman, or the other way, woman, man, or man, woman, man, or man, or woman, man, woman. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So, but yeah. So, I mean, I think that's going to have a lot to do with it. I think that could help the strategy. I still overall think it's conditioning and pressure. So you have on the other side, K-Talk is Drew Beatty from Utah and John Curatola from Florida. So John is the most experienced so far in all of them, and he's the most active. So and
he's the most decorated.
Yeah. For the most part, I guess. Yeah. I mean, Drew's done a lot too, but yeah, I mean, I think he's calm, he's collected, and he's going against high level people every weekend. So he's going to be ready. So for me, that's where that edge kind of comes.
Right.
Drew's done 2 tournaments, one in Utah and one in Texas. And there hasn't been any tournaments in California right now. But I know that the Dumlows train crazy. I know they've been working hard. They've been doing stuff. I don't know if they went to the Waco Invitationals or Nationals. Normally they would, but I don't know if they were able to. But that's kind of the only thing that I can think of as far as normally they would be at that. So
I love John Curatola. I think he's the best super lightweight.
Right.
No doubts about that. I think he's the best. But I got a chance to train with Sean's people once. They 1 year they went to the AKA Warrior Cup, and he was like, "Yo, we're gonna be in there a couple days early. Can we come train at your schoolhouse? Because it's in the Chicago area." I'm like, "Absolutely. All right, come on over." Yeah, his guys are good. His guys are good.
Yeah.
So, but what was interesting, here's what I remembered, all right, is if you give like his guys space, and Quentin, right? You give him space. That's what he wants, all right? That's where he's best, all right? So, and when he has more space, he's able to develop and do all the other things that he wants, all right? When you actually pressure him, all right, and close that space a little bit and make him do those things when you want him to, it actually helps that person a little bit more. So the downside is that's not really John's style. John's style is more of a counter fighter, very, very calculated. I mean, we would say John's a kicker, but you've probably never seen him kick too many people in the head.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you've probably almost never seen him pick his foot up and go 1, 2, 3, 4. You've never seen that, you know, because John's just good, right? So I'm really not quite, and I love John. I'm really not quite sure how to, you know, match that one up.
Right.
But so I think if you give Quentin space, he's going to win. I think if you give Drew space, that's unless her leg goes dead by round 2, right? I think she wins. She should be able to keep her foot up for 3 full rounds without putting it down, right? If that's who you are, if that's where you're going to hang your hat on, I am the best kicker.
Yeah.
She should say that, right? Against every woman that there is. She should just say, I'm the best kicker, right? She should be able to do that. If you can hang your hat on that, you should be able to have your foot up for 3 full rounds and never get tired. That's just really freaking hard to do.
Yeah.
You know
and I
what
feel
mean?
like that's what is it? Alyssa? Is that who it is? This fighter, Alyssa Jamal? Yeah, that's what I think her job should be the whole time. Just draw her out, like make her chase you with it. I mean, because that's really your best bet is to get her extended too much, or get her chasing you and move and work her angles. Because I know their footwork's great and their movement's great. So,
Yeah.
What do you think about this, Mike?
yeah,
You know what's funny is that Q. I've worked with him before, and there was another. Well, I've worked with Dumb Laos people many a times. I've done seminars over there. They come down to SoCal. We're real tight, and I've trained with some of those guys. And Q and this other gal, I mean, I literally showed them like a crazy footwork drill setup for kickers, like for people that love to kick. Who's that girl that is from Claire's school?
Oh, Elizabeth.
Lily Yard.
So this girl, she's like, I have a hard time with Elizabeth. So I showed her this little like where you kind of draw them back and you fade, you sidestep to their back to kind of get them drawed, and then you do a quick switch to their front and come in with a blitz. Dude, it's not an easy technique. And I just literally showed this girl Friday. Saturday in the division, this chick pulled it off against her and looked at me, and I was just like, no way. So that's the thing about Dumb Laos people is that they're quick and they absorb stuff.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that they're used to being underdogs, and they kind of like that role.
Yeah.
They kind of like going out there and kind of being underestimated, because it kind of like puts them in that position where people kind of fall asleep on them. Now, saying that, I know that John and Drew know better. Especially Drew, because Drew, she's from Utah and she does a lot of tournaments that they do.
Yeah.
Now,
she should know. Yeah.
Now I'll say this. I worked out with Drew 3 or 4 weeks ago. She happened to be at Raymond's. And when I worked with her, and I see this with certain people, when she fights people that are not intimidated by her and with that mindset, like, I'm better than you, I kind of see her wilter, and I see her kind of like allow people to just, beat her. And that's usually when she loses. But I feel like if she feels like she's better than you, then like you said, she can keep that leg up all day. She can do things the whole fight. Now, I'm kind of interested in how her mindset's going to be, knowing how the Dumb Lao people are. I'm thinking she's going to be, ready for everything. But I'm kind of interested in seeing how Alyssa Demlo is too, because, I mean, footwork is key for – this is a perfect matchup.
It is.
You got like footwork against kicking. I mean, listen, if you're going with me, I'm going with the footwork people because I love footwork. Now the question is, can those guys not make mistakes? Because you run into one or two kicks, couple things happen. Now you're down, so you kind of like you don't want to rush. You got to be patient, but also you don't want to have in the back of your mind that you just got kicked, because that type of stuff will impede your progress and your commitment. You know what I mean? Because if you're thinking you're going to get kicked, you're not going to come in 100, and then you're going to get stuck hanging out there, and you're going to get kicked. And going back to mindset, what you think of is usually what happens. So that's the one thing about you got to have that strong mindset. When you get friggin' kicked, you got to get up, dust yourself off, and be like, "That was my bad. I'm ready."
Right.
And that's the question. Can these guys do that? I don't know. And John, man, I hacked his name. Curatullo. That guy, he's very, like you said, he's very calm, cool, collected. He competes with a lot of great guys. So, he's like the latter days of GSP, in the sense of like he wasn't really exciting to watch at times, but I mean, but he wins, and that's the thing about John is like you said, for such a great kicker, I wish he would find the right time to put pressure with his kicks and set people up with his kicks and make things open up and maybe set up his hands with his kicks rather than, like you said, hang back and just kind of make people pay and just always be there with that side kick, or, people get caught hanging out and then maybe slips one in on the roundhouse or hook kick. So yeah, I'm kind of curious on the Q matchup and John. I mean, who's going to put it, I want to go with the West Coast guys. I ultimately said if I was going to bet money, I would go with K-Talk. If I'm going to bet money and I'm going with experience and people that have been there and most likely, and they're probably the ones, expected to win. But my heart says that these guys love that. They love that spot. And I almost feel like they kind of feed off that, and that kind of pumps them up being the underdog. And I think if, things go right for them early, I think they can run away with it. So, that's where I'm at on it. I mean, I want the West Coast guys to win. I have a lot of respect for John and Drew. But I like these young, up and coming, hungry kids. I've seen them, and they're hard workers. They ask the right questions, and the fact that I've showed them something, and they're doing it like a day later, not only does it show me that they, that they respect.
That didn't sound like a really easy drill.
Respect what I showed them, but they put, and not easy drill, who they pulled it off on, the best person in the division. I was like, get out of here. Now you can't pull that off more than once because she's gonna pick off, and that's the problem. Is the girl couldn't keep on scoring, but the fact that she pulled that off, I was like, that's bad. So that's where I'm at, man. If I'm going with my money, I'm going with K-Talk. If I'm going with my heart and my soul, I'm going to go with the West Coast guys. So
yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat, man. One thing for me, I feel like Drew's going to want to be the last one. I don't know if that's necessarily all going to be the best bet or not. I do think they need to try to make her go back to back. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know the shape that all they're in, but I feel like that's kind of the way they need to do it. Either going first or in the middle. And then that way Quentin can put the pressure on John at the end, so, but
we've got to get to a point where we're not always like, well, if they run out of gas, if they don't run out of gas. And I think the reason why our sport is always kind of that way is because, look at what we did. We went from when we started doing tournaments to 3 points, first to 3 points, right? You could have no cardio and you could get to 3 points. Like we could do that. You know what I mean?
And primarily back then people set. You watch the old videos, they set in their stance.
Right.
And then kicked. And it wasn't the bouncing the movement like it turned into in the 90s, right?
Right.
Or even the pressure of the kicking in the 90s. And then really the footwork kind of came up even more with Mike and those guys in the mid 90s to into the 2000s, and so, I mean, it's just completely different.
you got to give Jesse Ray a little bit of credit.
Yes.
He's really good at with good matchups.
Yes.
And I think that's a bonus. I mean, whoever sets up the fights, I think that's key because I mean, if you can sit there and go, this guy's gonna win, this guy's gonna win, this guy's gonna win, and I could do a 4 or 5 way parlay and win every time.
Yeah.
Then that's how probably unexciting the fights are going to be too, because I mean you can kind of already determine the outcome.
Right.
Kyle Floyd is saying, Mike, get up and show us a drill. You got to pay for that seminar, Kyle.
That's right.
I love those. I love those guys, man. They're all great.
Hey, that's a good one. Y'all need to bring down. That would be great. They have a huge. They have 65 students going to the tournament this weekend. So.
Yeah, no, that guy. He's got a pretty good fan base. Those guys.
Yeah.
I know that he had a lot of people pumping for him, and again, it stinks. That's another thing too. People forget about the pressure. When you're there, you're worried so much about fighting, but sometimes you can let other little obstacles man, I got all these people watching, I can't let them down. You can't be thinking about that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Your mindset's got to be focused on what you're going to do, what's going to be done, envision yourself, hand raised, and that's it. Everything else, you can't let those things creep in. It's kind of like a crack in a window, man. Before you know it, you got to replace the window because it's going to expand. The same thing happens in your mind, man. That little thing, you can start just going downhill and just, start thinking negative and negative over and over. Positive mindset.
So the main event, we got Brandon versus Bryon. So this is a great matchup as well. All these fights are awesome. So Bryon, I mean, I thought he was done because I didn't see him doing any of the tournaments. I just saw him judging at tournaments. And then beginning of the year, he's been at all the events, been consistent, getting better, winning, and he's back at it, ready to go. We've seen him go from being the one up on the rise to kind of not going all the way down, but just kind of tapering out a little bit, So, and then we're the person that everyone probably besides Bailey right now, I'd say Brandon's the most talked about fighter in sport karate. He's been active. He's been the one that has brought his level and his stock from here to up here with the top level guys, where before some people would say, oh, he's the utility player or whatever for the team, where he's like that third person. You're not really sure, but he's going to make it a tough fight, but he's really the heart and soul of that team of straight up, man. Yep. And he's been showing it and he's ready to take it to that next level. And I love watching him, man. He's become one of my favorite fighters over this past year. So I'm excited for this fight. I'm picking Brandon because of I feel like he's going to just keep the pressure on Bryon to where he's not going to be able to do it. So.
Yeah, I was a lot of that of what you just said. I kind of agree the same with. So this is something a lot of people don't know is Bryon. I was thinking about this, we've heard Brandon, lately we've seen Brandon and a lot of what you were saying, Jeff. I was like, you know what? Nobody's really talked to Bryon. Let me reach out to Bryon, see if he wants to come on the show. Bryon is one of the only people to turn us down, right? Yeah. And the other people who said no, they just couldn't, scheduling wise they couldn't. Bryon was like, no, I'm training. Yeah. Like, what? He's like, no, I'll be training. I'm not going to be able to be on your show. Like, damn. All right, good luck.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. We're like, hey, we didn't say who it was, but yeah. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. I mean, that really changed the man. Like, oh wow, all right, he's ready. So
yeah, and then he had won a few tournaments recently in Florida. In Florida. Yeah. So you're like, all right, should we be looking at something here? Because I kind of felt the same as you. I was like, oh, you know what it kind of is? I'm going to use a boxing analogy here. All right. Brandon's on the rise, clearly. right? Bryon was the name who took a step down. If this was boxing, you would look at Bryon as the stepping stone, right? The leapfrog to get you to now you're going to be in that title fight because you just beat Bryon, right? Because Bryon was somebody because he was winning overalls. Now he's not, right? So if this was boxing, you would use that as that analogy where, all right, he's just the stepping stone fighter. But it kind of looks like it might not be going that way, all right? Looks like Bryon might be like, I'm going to step all over you.
Yeah,
So,
I think he's getting his second win. You know what I mean?
I think so.
Yeah.
This is because he's got to be close to 30 now too, all right?
He's way older than that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, isn't he 35?
Yeah, I think he's 35. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he'll be good, but he don't have many years left. Just straight up, you don't, right? Sorry, don't mean to burst your bubble. You can say you got 5 elite years left. You do not. You've got like 2 or 3.
Hey, unless you're Raymond Daniels, he's still
freaking kidding.
Yeah,
not fair.
I think he's 34. So
yeah, he's got 2-3 really good years left.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because Bryon's taken some time off, and like you said, he's been at the top. But this is totally different. Virtual Fight Tour. I think that's another thing people got to take into consideration. I think not that he's not ready for that. I mean, I think like they do a lot of challenge type fights, which he just did recently in Florida as well on that same card. So it's not that he's not used to that, but this is inside a ring. It's a little bit different. And again, it's not that he can't train for it. But Brandon, man, I've seen growth every time out of him. I counted him out too many times. And I'm going to go with Brandon this time. I think he's been working a lot of his offline. He's been working a lot of footwork. It's funny is that a lot of people have been critiquing him, and I've been seeing him digest that information and actually, do exactly what the things that we said he needed to do. He's been working on it, and you just see the adjustments, and he's just been getting better and better. And I think his timing is going to be on point. I think his cardio is going to be on point. And not that Bryon's not going to be a tough nut to crack, but I think that Brandon's ready to go over the hump, man. I think this kid's gonna step up. Big things are gonna come from him.
So the interesting thing about Bryon is, so I'll never forget this. When Hayabusa picked up Bryon, someone reached out to me. They're like, man, Hayabusa picked up Bryon. Isn't he in your weight class? But he wasn't. He was like one below. And I'm like, dude, that makes total sense. And they're like, why? And I'm like, because I'm not that active, right? Number one, right? Number two, he's a more efficient, not as good as kicking version of me. They're like, what are you talking about? I was like, dude, I make mistakes left and right all the time. This guy doesn't, right? So if you think about it, like, he does, like, he's beaten some really high-end guys, right? Mm-hmm. Like, he showed everybody, if you were a right leg kicker, how you beat Zolt Marati. It shouldn't be complicated, but Zolt was just the better right leg kicker than everybody, right? So, and before he was really on anything else, before he was just with Team Legend, before he went on to Team Bring It, before he went on Hayabusa and Proper, he was with Legend, just the rest of the Venezuelans. And he beat Zolt really handily at the U.S. Open. Fast forward, using his right leg, beat Tomas Imre, which I was like, people don't do that, right? Yeah. And then changed it up on him, changed his spacing to draw Tomas back, and then dropped Tomas, like, hard. So, and Tomas, like I called him, he's a fake tough guy, right? He likes to body people up and try to bully, but he's not a bully. He's just a fake tough guy, right? So he got dropped. It is what it is, man.
Hey, what year was all this that you were talking about just recently?
Oh, the one where he beat Tomas.
When he was beating both these guys.
They were separate years.
But I mean, it was probably like what, at least 3 to 5 years ago?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not taking nothing away. I just know when you come back,
yeah,
it's hard. And I know he's in Florida, and I know he's got great competition. He's got great guys to train with, which definitely helps out a lot. But Brandon's been real active. He's been in a lot of pressure cookers. He's lost a lot of close ones. And I think that, eventually that gets old,
And they have arguably the best training camp right now too. So
yeah, he's got some great guys to train with too that are fast, that work hard.
All right, did you pick one, Jeff? Did you pick?
Yeah, I picked Brandon. So, and so did Mike. So
I know I haven't picked yet.
Yeah, you said Bryon. Don't lie.
Do it.
I'm gonna go with Brandon.
Oh man! So guys, get your tickets
for both.
Get your tickets.
About Bryon. I had to say something about Bryon.
Well, true. Guys, make sure you get your tickets for Virtual Fight Tour 8. Go to myeventtex.com. We are sponsored by Virtual Fight Tour, and Jesse Ray, John Claude, all those guys are doing great jobs. And Mike P and Travis and Chris will be commentating. So it's going to be an awesome show. So we did that in an hour. So I have one question that I wanted, and just a fun one, and for us three just to kind of do, and just because all of us have been around for years, and
this sounds like
just pick your top. Make your favorite, not the best, not even what you think would win, but your favorite of a 5-man, 1-woman team all time. Okay.
Favorite, not the best. Like all right,
like ones that you right, but you think they're the best because they're your favorite. You know what I'm saying? Like, or
all right.
I mean,
Yeah, I got it.
Who gets to go first?
You.
All right. Listen, I'm gonna stack the deck against you guys. Are you ready?
Oh, wait. We can't use your guys either, can we?
It don't matter. Who cares? I mean, however you guys want to do it. But listen, for me, I would stack the deck, and I always liked Chuck Merriman's type philosophy, where mostly heavyweights, because I think if you got like long, lanky, strong heavyweights, they're always tough to beat. You know what I mean?
Right.
So for me, I mean, if you don't put Raymond Daniels on the list, then you probably, you don't want to win.
Right.
I mean, because when it comes to teams, when it comes to individuals, I mean, the guy's a monster to deal with. He's a tough matchup. And again, he's the type of guy when you're down points, and I've seen him many a times, he can there's no unsurmountable lead that he can't come back to. So I mean, he's going to be right off the bat one of my guys. Nasty Anderson, God rest his soul. I mean, those guys are 1 and 2 arguably amongst many people. Of course, not the old school people. They're going to bring in Mike Stone, Benny the Jet, and all those other guys, which are phenomenal martial artists as well. Weren't people that I got to watch a lot, and now I'm kind of comparing the game, team fights nowadays. So, again, I'm going to stick with people that I kind of know and, like you said, favorites. So I'm going to go Nasty Anderson. I'm going to go Raymond Daniels. I was going to go Richard Plowden, but you know what? I think Avery Plowden is Richard Plowden kind of like 1.5, 2.0 myself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think if I'm going to go, I'm going to go with him as well. I hate this. Well, I don't want to say I hate this guy because that comes off wrong. I hated competing against this guy. So that usually tells you that he was a problem. And if he's a problem for me, I'm going to put him on the team. Trevor Nash for sure would be that type of guy that I've seen him at Irish Open, even just recently, putting it on people. And he doesn't compete for a while, then he just shows up and starts putting it on people. Yep. So I mean, you get those 4 guys, at their prime, it's going to be tough. Now this one's going to throw you for a curveball. I would go for the 5th guy. Is a guy that I've always wanted to fight. I've loved his mindset. People don't talk about him enough, and he's beaten Nasty Anderson, and him and Nasty used to have great battles. Alfie Lewis would be my 5th guy.
Nice.
I would get Alfie Lewis.
You're right. He doesn't get enough.
No, he doesn't.
I would get him in his prime because that dude, I'd put him against anybody, man. He's beaten Jerry Fontenez, Hakeem Alston. He ain't scared of nobody. No. I love his mentality, his mindset, the way he trains, his techniques. Man, he's a guy that I would love to have on the team, and he might be the only guy that's not a heavyweight. He might be like middle. No, he's light heavy. Yeah, he would have been my division.
Oh, so, and female.
Female. you know what? I mean, I have a hard time with females because there's so many good ones, but man, me, man, man, I want to say just because I've seen her a lot more and she was more active, I'd want to say, sorry, what's I can't believe I can't think of her first name. What's Avery's sister's name?
Oh, Morgan.
Morgan, I would put on the team, but I haven't seen her as active as this one. So if I'm going to say if I would go, I would have to go with Nikki Carlson-Lee. I'd have to go with someone that's for a decade was just like, you know, she was tough. And, you know, I mean, could she be beat? Yeah. Could some of those other guys be beat? Yeah. Would all of them be beat? Man, I think they'd be a tough squad to beat.
Yeah.
You get anybody you want. I think it would be a tough squad to beat. I'd bet my house, car, everything with those guys. I think that'd be a tough squad to beat.
Yeah, that's a tough one right there.
Yeah, it's tough, especially now. It's like, all right, can we repeat or, you know?
Yeah,
let's just repeat. Yeah, let's do that.
Because we both knew. Yeah, go ahead.
There's several that I have the same. So,
all right, you go.
Yeah, I'll go. So for me, I'll go with. All right, looking at the same thing, like who would I put against Raymond? Because obviously we're going to go against Raymond, right? So I'm going to put Trevor and Jason. So I'm going to put those two guys, right? Then I have on the other end, I also have Jack and Mike Pombeiro. And then AP, Anthony Price. So that would be my 5. The other one I want to put in there is Ibby. But the other one I want to put in there is Ibby just because I also have seen Ibby beat many of these heavyweight guys. And, you know, at his prime in that late 80s, early 90s. But I'm going to go with Jason on there. It's my boy. And females, yeah, I mean, normally I would put Nikki in there. But, you know, I'm going to change it up. I'm going to go Chelsea because of just ring savvy. And I think she's able to make it no matter who she goes against, make it a close and low scoring match.
All right, so are we using each other's fighters, or are we going to use that? Might you know what? I'll use different fighters.
All right, so yeah, right? So if I don't get Trevor, I'll take Trevor out. I don't want to put Ibby in place of Trevor. I need someone a little bit more mean. I mean, not saying, but I'll go Hakeem Austin then.
All right, this is hard now.
No, I'm sorry. I want Damon.
All right, I can't use Ray. I can't use Trevor. I can't use Nikki.
So those would be 3 of yours. Who else would you use?
And I know he won Jason on his team.
I can't use Jason. This sucks. All right, but this is going to make it fun and interesting. All right. You took Nikki. You took Chelsea. I'm taking Morgan. Which Morgan? That's my. If I didn't pick her, I would.
Right. Exactly.
I would be smoking something. All right. So I got Morgan. I'm taking Ross. Damn Levine. That's what I'm taking.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a great one.
Ross Levine. Okay. You got it. Because we're talking now, he's like a middle welterweight-ish, but really throughout his fighting career, he was like heavy. No, he was pretty much just heavy. All right. Yeah. Okay. You got it. Now I got to have some people who are versatile, who can fight lightweights, who can fight fast guys, tall guys, big guys. I'm taking Jack Felton. Right?
I have him already. You can't take
you took Jack?
Of course I took Jack. He's my favorite fighter. Come on.
Oh, this sucks. All right.
Yeah. Hey, I'll help you out. You got Jody, you got Pedro.
Right.
You got the Bradys. I mean,
okay, so I got Ross. I got Pedro Xavier.
We got your favorite fighter too still left too.
I'm gonna take Roman.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Roman because you need someone who's that dominant. Right?
Yeah.
Who's got that leg that people are like, because with Roman on the team, whatever team they're facing, they're going to huddle up and go, all right, well, who's going to handle that guy? And there's typically only like one guy who could probably handle that guy. Right? And so then so you put him on there, that's it. You only got one other guy maybe who can handle that guy. Okay, so I got Ross, I got Pedro, I got Roman. I need to be sneaky here. What else am I gonna have here?
Someone else
Jotty,
just put someone up there. Someone
Jotty
just
ain't a bad
suggested
guy.
Willie.
Yeah, I'm taking Jotty Tension.
Yeah, that's a good
Jotty
one.
Tension, the super fighter.
Yeah,
So I need one more, right?
yeah. Brad just suggested Willie because Willie has beaten like Raymond and Trevor, and he's kind of sneaky. But
I'm taking Hamid Farouzi.
Yes, yeah, we should know.
I'm taking Hamid Farouzi. That big backhand, ridge hand of his.
There you go.
Hamid Farouzi. All right.
I like it.
That's not bad.
No.
I don't know if I win, but that's not bad.
Yeah. I mean, Mike had a good one.
I don't know if I can.
We shouldn't have let him go first.
Hey, I'm the guest. You know
Yes,
what?
Brad, you're the guest.
No, and you know what's funny too is like being doing what you guys do. It's a lot of hard work. At least for me, when I used to do or was doing podcasts, I would do a lot of like notes. I would have like a lot of things scribbled. So like, because there's a lot of things as soon as I got off, I'm like, dang, I forgot to ask this, forgot to ask that.
Yeah.
So, but what's funny is like when I come on this side, I hate writing anything or being prepared. I'd rather be just like on the fly because it's more organic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're sitting there and
Cool.
you get time to think. I don't know. It just seems like so scripted. That's why it's so much more fun being on this side.
Awesome. Yeah, that's the way we like it as well, man. I mean, just having fun. And Mike, so before to finish this up, what do you see as far as this next year? What do you see with the sport? Maybe what do you think we're going to see happen over this next year? Who do you think are some people that are going to become big-time players, who you're excited to see fight again? Just give us a little rundown of what you think, what you're looking forward to.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've seen what's happened in Florida and some of those spots over there in Georgia and, with VFT and Pro Point. I'm kind of curious to see how long that goes and how they're able to kind of either work with one another or if there's going to be a problem with that once events start picking up. But I mean, I'm hoping tournaments get revamped. I'm hoping because of all the time that people have had off, they're going to be excited, energized to get back out there. But I kind of miss the old events. I mean, when I remember right before I got back in, or I should say before I got to the cream of the crop and I was a top guy, there was a time where tournaments were just like big. I mean, it was on TV. I mean, you were respected. And nowadays I just feel like the respect factor isn't there for our sport as much as it was at one time. And even from our people, I mean, the way people kind of treat each other and one another, a lot of times I go to other countries and people are just a lot more respectful, a lot more. So I like to see some of the people that I'm seeing, the Brandons, the whole straight up crew, the guys from Legend, a lot of these, the Floyds, a lot of these young guys coming up. They're hungry, they're respectful. They want to learn. So I'm hoping because of that, we'll see a lot more of that and a trend of those people competing. I mean, but I'd love to see the virtual fight tour still, because I'm not going to lie. That's one thing I think that we missed is having challenge matches.
Yeah.
Where sometimes things fall through the cracks. The refereeing wasn't as great as it could have been. Someone had an off day or they got pit up against a weird matchup first. So you didn't get to see the matchup you wanted to see. So, I think there's definitely a spot for these other things on the side. And again, I'd love to see them kind of work off each other and kind of both grow the sport, because how great would it be if we could just do this full time and not have to own a school? You know what I mean? Nothing against school ownership, but I mean, that's 24/7. I mean, even when you're on vacation, you got to worry about if the plumbing goes out, if a drunk guy comes in and starts, messing with your clientele or whatever it is, even if you're not there, things come up and you got to deal with things on the fly. It would be great if you could do this full time and make some good money, and hopefully these guys learn from other people, like how some of these guys have gotten into movie roles and doing different things. you know what? Maybe I'm not competing, but it's kind of the same thing. I go out there and I perform, and I get paid for it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. So, and I'm hoping to see people that realize, hey, if sport karate isn't going to grow, that's okay. Do what Raymond's doing, do what Ross Levine's doing, and all these other guys, Michael Page. The list goes on and on. You know, I got a lot of respect for those guys, and it's great. And they're also making our sport. They're legitimizing our sport.
Yes, yeah.
And hopefully it puts more of an eyeball on us and brings more people that want to see, well, man, why aren't those guys doing more of this? And let me check it out. I'm kind of really interested because, you know, I'd like to be one of those guys that kind of sees the next upcoming guy before he's even there. You know what I mean? So like I said, you know, the future's bright. I think it has a lot to do with what in the end are we trying to do? Are we trying to make money as a spectator, or are we just trying to build each other up? If we're trying to build each other up and everybody, you know, has their hands out, that's great. The competitor, the spectator, everybody, you know, makes out in the end, that's great. But I think if there's only one winner in the end, you know, everybody's going to lose. You know, and I think the house of cards is going to fall. And I think that's kind of what's been happening as of late. I think that the tournaments that the promoters are listening and catering to what the competitors want are really, truly the tournaments that are doing well consistently. So hopefully these promoters are picking up on that and they realize in the end, you know, that's going to go a long way. And I'm hoping we continue to see that. So,
yeah, I'm seeing just the regional event become bigger because right now, talking to several regional promoters, all their events are bigger now than they ever were. That's you know, awesome right now, you know, to see that they are growing and because they are making a change. They're not just saying, well, just wait till I can do what I always do. No, they're taking advantage of it now and continuing to grow and asking around, you know, and listening to our shows and what we're talking about and making changes because of it, you know. So I think those type of promoters and those types of leagues are going to be the ones that grow and take it into the next level. So I think there is going to be a change in the guard very soon. I really do. So,
you know, I had a question. I was just thinking of this. Mike, if you were in your prime and you were going to fight in the VFT, who would you want to fight? From your day, from Mike P's prime, fighting someone in Mike P's prime.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'd want to fight Raymond. Come on, I mean, you know who? Yeah. I mean, you know, we got a lot of love for each other, but I mean, you know, it'd be like the Rolex Challenge again. It would be like, I mean, you know, I did.
That was a great. Imagine if there was 3 rounds of that.
I did win that, but I mean, that was totally different rules. It's totally different, and he was an up and coming guy.
Right.
So, I mean, it would be totally different if he was in his prime, you know. But yeah, I mean, I would want to fight Raymond. I mean, I wouldn't want anybody else. I mean, there's a lot of great people that I could throw up there, but I mean, if I was going to fight in that, I'd want to fight him.
Yeah. All right, and then to piggyback off that question, Mike Bates just asked, who would you want to fight from today's time, also, or maybe the last 10 years, or you know. Yeah,
man, that's tough. That one's tough because there's a lot of great up and coming talent, but I would say I want to again. I'm always thinking of the biggest, toughest challenge because I mean, if you're gonna go, you got to go big.
Yeah,
I would have to say probably Avery Plowden. I would have to say him. Man, and that's not to take nothing away from him. The kid's a beast, and that's why I think I'm.
I would love to see that.
I would love to fight that kid, and I wouldn't even. Right now I haven't watched him enough. I wouldn't even have a idea of how to fight him because he's so efficient. He does things and he doesn't waste any movement. The kid's on point and he's a beast. I mean, I don't know if you ever seen him without his shirt.
Yeah,
I mean, he'd be a
specimen.
Yeah, he'd be a tough nut to crack. He's tall, athletic, strong, conditioned, and smart. So, I mean, if I could take on anybody, that would be the guy. I don't know how I would do it in it, but I mean, if I'm going to do it, that's who I'd want to go against. And I think
bring your boy in. Your boy was creeping around the corner.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to finish this so you can go hang out.
Bring him in.
Oh, you saw a little man. My wife.
Yeah, he ran.
My wife was patrol. She was like, "Get over here!" So you know what's funny is that on a couple podcasts that I did, and I took a little bit long, my kid would pull like army tactics, where you know how you can only see right here. So right now I could have like boxers on, or I could just like have nothing on, which I don't. I mean, I have clothes on, regular clothes. But point being, you know how like that's the big Zoom thing right now. So, but my kid, dude, he comes in stealth. And one time he was like sitting there in the back, and I'm trying to talk, and the kid's trying to get my attention, and he's making faces, and I got to a point where like I'm like, dude, you're making me look so bad right now, because I mean I can't stop with the face that I had to just put him on blast. I'm like, hold on. I'm like, dude, get out of here, you know, because I mean I couldn't stop, because I mean the kid's like everywhere I try to go with my eyes, he's like, you know what I mean? And you know, I mean, he's 8, you know, what can you do? I mean, you know, he's bored. He's, you know, I'm at work all day. I come home, I give him a little bit of time, and then, you know, I'm stuck in here for an hour or two, and it's a weekly thing. It's tough. We were just talking about it, you know, you know, at this age. And, you know, that's another thing that, you know, that I'd like to mention, that I found it tough for myself to want to continue to train, and not because I want to, just because of the time.
Yeah.
So, you know, accountability is big. So for me, like, I think with all the Zoom stuff and all that thing, I think I kind of want to start doing something where, you know, I kind of pulled back from the podcast. I want to spend more time with my family. We want to work out. I'm thinking about something where maybe like a weekly thing. I just want to do a fitness thing where people want to jump on. We do it together. Everybody holds each other accountable.
I like it.
I'm working out, so I'm not just like a sergeant friggin' telling you. I'm like, because I hate to say it, I love to suffer. So, you know, and I like to make people suffer because it's more fun when you're doing it together. And again, I find that a lot of times when I was younger, I had the time to drive to the gym, but all that's wasteful time. I got to be efficient like a fighter. Like I was just talking about Avery. I don't have time to drive. You know, that I could be doing something else. That hour is like, I could be doing something else. So like, for me, like, you know, that's the best thing that I've learned, I think, from this whole thing. Just, you have the space. You have to have the discipline, the motivation. Just do it. You know, so I think that's something that I've been kind of working on and wanting to do here pretty soon. Maybe do like a couple free things where we just do it for a few weeks and then just motivate each other and get some people to sponsor and do giveaways and do stuff and just, you know.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
So, I like it. I like it, Mike.
So, but anyways,
that's
hey
awesome,
guys,
man.
it was a blast. Thank you for everything. And I'm looking forward to this weekend. And again, great set of fights. And, you know, hopefully the future's bright for all these guys, because I think if there's a place for these people to make a living off of it, you'll see even bigger and better athletes. I think you saw that in UFC originally, how there was tough guys, but athleticism and professionalism wasn't quite there.
Right.
But once you started paying these guys money, training camps, the best things, you know, money can buy, cryotherapy, yoga, best food, you know. So, and I think the same thing for us. I think if there's a room where people can see the potential to where I don't have to have a job and I can focus on this 24/7, I think you'll even see people get better today. And I know old school people hate hearing that,
right?
But I think if there's a place where people can make a living off it, just like all these other sports, I think it'll only get better. You know, because people will have more time to get better and train, and you know, and then also you're going to hold yourself more accountable if you're getting paid for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To make it seem like you're worth it. So,
awesome, man. Thanks so much. And
This
guys,
has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. See you guys next week. And watch the rest of Martial Arts Internet Network.
Peace, guys.